It's a really basic question. Can Alabama strike back and take the national championship back from Georgia in 2023? Now, I know. This isn't how it works. Every single season is different. And, 2020 doesn't have anything to do with 23. It doesn't. And the last year doesn't have anything to do with this year. But, I was just thinking about the situation that Alabama is in. They've not gone 3 seasons without winning a national championship in Nick's entire time there. He's obviously I don't know how obvious it is. It's obvious to somebody with a brain. He's the greatest college football coach of all time, but it's slow. It's slowed down. It's slowed down. I don't think there's much question about it. It's slowed down at Alabama. It's slowed down um, at Florida. It's slowed down at Clemson. Um, there are places where things slow down a little bit. The difference between the other two places that I just mentioned is, Alabama expects to win national championships under Nick Saban, and Georgia's gotten directly in their way. Georgia's gotten directly in the way for one of the two, and they didn't qualify to play Georgia in the 2022 season in the championship game. So, is this a season where Alabama can strike back? Because when you talk to people behind the scenes, non-Georgia people, there's a feeling that the only thing Alabama is missing is a quarterback. Did they solve that riddle with the change that they've got coming in at quarterback from Notre Dame? They've got a new offensive coordinator from Notre Dame. Now they brought in the quarterback from Notre Dame. Is it as easy as plug and play and you just go straight into it? I don't know. But apparently every single thing else is there. I think some people are making somewhat the same argument for Georgia, is that, it's all there, but we're not so sure about the quarterback. Well, I mean, the quarterback's been there for a while. They're not starting over. Alabama is starting over at quarterback. I think that is a pretty big difference, to be frank. Carson Beck's been inside Georgia's program for some time. We don't know who the quarterback necessarily at Alabama will be, but it doesn't look like it's going to be someone who's, it doesn't look like it's going to be Milbanks, I think is number 4. And why would you take the quarterback from Notre Dame if you were settled on the two guys that were in town already? I mean, nobody suggests that that's what's going to be happening. So we'll just see what happens there. But they are really they're in a position here where Milroe, yeah, and Buckner are the two guys that you've already got in, on campus. And then I'm sorry, I misspoke there. Buckner was brought in. Milroe and Simpson were on campus. The thinking beforehand was that it would be Simpson that would eventually take over. It may be that Alabama goes with him because they feel like he has the highest ceiling. But again, if that were the case, why would Buckner have been brought in? So I think that's sort of the challenge right now at Alabama is who is the quarterback. Well, I don't think that's the question at Georgia. I think they know who the quarterback is. In fact, we talk about that in the 2023 preview. It looks very, to me, if not other people, that it's going to be Carson Beck. Now, he's going to have to win the job. Carson doesn't just get the keys handed to him. He's going to have to walk through and get the job done. If you want to read it other than trying to screenshot it off the screen, the link's down below. If you get double Dawgs, you'll get our 2023 preview included. So pick that up today. But, I don't want to over focus on quarterback, but Alabama has been so good at quarterback over time. I mean, they really have. I'm trying to think Bryce Young is the only quarterback, I think, since 2015 that's not won a national championship. Now, what I mean by that is you couldn't say that person is directly responsible for winning a national championship. And he's the best one. I mean, he's, to me, although Mac Jones was very good, don't get me wrong, but like, Tua and Jalen, I think certainly get credit for 17. You want to say Tua, I mean, okay, but do they get there with Tua? I don't think they do, to be honest with you, because he was very up and down against Georgia. He hit the game-winning play, no doubt, but does he get them through the season? I don't know. So I would say both of them, and then obviously Jake Coker, Tua and Jalen, and then Mac Jones, the one that I thought would have the most trouble. He probably directs the second best offense in college football history behind Joe Burrow and company the year before at LSU. So, Bryce, they've been so good for so long, Bama, at quarterback. And for a long time, that was a position where they didn't really have playmakers. They had guys who, managed things, if you want to call it that. But, to win, I think, 3 national championships with so-called game managers, if you want to call them that, that's pretty good too. They got playmakers now. Make sure you're taking advantage of our Doordash offer. The code is Dawg Post Summer, Dawg Post Summer. First order, 50% off, a $20 value. Make sure you're taking advantage of that. It's a limited time offer and terms apply. We're really appreciative of Doordash. 50% off a $20 value. They're going to deliver it. Doordash is awesome. It's easy. You don't have to leave your house. So take advantage of that. Even if you can't take advantage of this offer, Dawg Post Summer for your code, make sure you're taking advantage of Doordash this summer. I mean, sometimes we get stuck unprepared for lunch or dinner, and they do all sorts of stuff in Atlanta and Athens. Let me tell you, they are in Savannah. I know this audience is not just Atlanta and Athens. Believe me, I see the numbers. Savannah and Albany Albany and Columbus, Macon, everybody, Valdosta, Hey Hira. Y'all are all out there, and I appreciate y'all watching. But this team coming into it, I mean, Alabama doesn't exactly have a schedule where you're sitting there going, oh no, how are we going to get through this? It's I don't think 12-0 is out of the question at all. Not at all. I mean, Middle Tennessee, and then the Texas game, will be a good warm-up for what comes down the road, which is just a really tough schedule, generally speaking, but nothing that Alabama can't handle. I mean, they should win all these games. They host Middle Tennessee. They host Texas. They go to UCF for a scrimmage, which, they're playing at UCF. I'm not sure why that game's scheduled. I'm not sure why that game's scheduled. And then they host the Rebels. They go to State, which is virtually, an hour away. Not virtually, it is legitimately an hour away. They got to go Texas A&M. I mean, is Texas A&M going to ever do anything? I mean, they play Alabama well. Arkansas, same sort of situation as A&M. But that game's at home. Tennessee at home. Should win that game, And then a week off before LSU, probably their most daunting game of the season. The back-to-back of LSU and Kentucky is not a lot of great fun physically. I'm just going to say that right now. Kentucky will physically play you. They may not beat you, but they will physically, they will throw punches. So I think that's another one to pay attention to. Kentucky beating Alabama, not sure I'm ready to say that's going to happen. But then, just like me yawning there, UTC comes, and then they'll go to Auburn. Is it possible Auburn could be better at the end of the season? It is totally possible. Is it possible that they'll beat Alabama? To me, no. I don't think they are in a position right now to beat an Alabama team that certainly should should be in the discussion of the playoff, if not get to Atlanta and nail that in. But this is a good team. Can they strike back? I mean, it might come down to the quarterbacks. Often that's the case.